What if I told you there's a $40,000 electric SUV that can literally power your household appliances, instantly transform into a super comfortable family lounge, and somehow pack in features you'd normally only expect from a massive luxury price tag? Sounds like an absolute steal, right? Well, hold on a second. Not so fast, because there is one glaring weakness with the Geely EX5 that might make you walk right past it and choose a completely different car. So let's figure out if this is actually one of the smartest EV buys on the market right now, or just another shiny Chinese electric SUV hiding behind a really long feature list. Let's get into it. This is the Geely EX5.
So let's dive right into the stuff that immediately makes this car so interesting. Say you put the EX5 into its dedicated camping mode and activate the power sharing feature. You can open up the charge port, plug in an appliance, and yeah, you can actually run household equipment directly off the car's battery. Got a high-powered fan on a blistering hot summer day? Perfect. Want to run a coffee maker right out of the back while you're parked? You can totally do it. And honestly, that isn't even the wildest part of this car.
Check this out. You hit the passenger seat controls and the leg rest actually extends out, basically turning the seat into a comfortable little lounge chair right there in the cabin. It is wild. And for the driver, Geely went ahead and engineered private speakers right into the headrests. This means the driver can listen to their own audio, like GPS directions or a podcast, without forcing the rest of the family to listen to it. Oh, and then there's a completely hidden storage drawer tucked away underneath the rear seats. Now look, are you going to brag to your friends about a hidden drawer every single day? Probably not. But they're exactly the kind of quirky, thoughtful little features that make you feel like you're discovering something new every time you hop in.
And when you're inside, the EX5 completely dodges that cheap, plastic EV stereotype you might be expecting. The design is super clean, it's modern, and honestly, surprisingly classy. The materials feel premium to the touch, the dials and controls are nicely damped, and you get this massive central touchscreen that's bright, sharp, and instantly responsive. Plus, you're getting wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is basically a must-have at this point. But here's the kicker, and this is what I really love about it. Geely actually showed some restraint. They smartly avoided shoving absolutely everything behind that touchscreen. You still get real physical climate controls for the things you actually want to grab while you're driving. You need to change the temperature, the button is right there. Adjust the fan speed, right there. It's perfectly tactile, and honestly, it's exactly how every car should be set up.
But okay, let's forget the cool gadgets and shiny screens for a second. The real question is, could you actually live with this thing day in and day out? We'll jump in the back, and there is a shocking amount of room. The legroom is generous, headroom is great, and you can even stretch your feet way underneath the front seats. Even better, the rear seats actually recline, which is an absolute game changer for making long road trips more comfortable. There's plenty of width to fit 3 adults across the back too. And for the parents out there, the rear doors open incredibly wide, giving you super easy, frustration-free access to those ISOFIX points for car seats. So as a daily family hauler, it's making a seriously strong case for itself.
Alright, enough about the interior specs. Let's actually talk about how it drives. This specific front-wheel drive version pushes out 218 horsepower, and when you put your foot down, it's actually pretty decent. The official claimed 0 to 60 time is around 7 seconds, and out in the real world, it genuinely gets very close to that mark. It's not going to snap your neck back, but it provides more than enough punch for merging onto a busy highway or just zipping around town.
But look, going fast is only half the equation, right? You have to be able to stop the thing. And here's where it shines. It takes just about 33 meters to come to a complete, dead stop from 60 miles per hour. That is a genuinely impressive braking metric for a heavy SUV of this size, and it should absolutely give families a lot of confidence when they're out on the road.
But what really matters is how all this comes together when you aren't doing 0 to 60 poles or aggressive brake tests. Once you settle in and just drive normally, the EX5's biggest strength becomes glaringly obvious. It is just incredibly comfortable. Geely totally prioritized comfort over that harsh artificial sportiness you see in so many EVs lately. The suspension is remarkably soft, soaking up the bumps, the steering is light and totally effortless, and the visibility all around is excellent. If you're navigating a busy, tight town, this thing is just unbelievably stress-free to pilot.
Okay, but let's just take a breath here, because we need to stop the praise for a minute. As much as it offers on paper, the EX5 is not perfect, not by a long shot. There are some real everyday compromises that come with this price tag. Now, are they massive deal breakers that completely kill the car? No, probably not. But I promise you, they are exactly the kinds of little frustrations you are going to notice day in and day out, long after that shiny new car honeymoon period fades away.
First up is the absolute biggest weakness of the vehicle, the battery.
The official claimed range for the standard battery pack sits around 260 miles. And in today's EV market, that's just okay. It's definitely not class-leading. But here is the crazy part. If you decide to fork over the extra money to upgrade to the larger battery pack, you are only gaining about 30 miles of extra claimed range. For the extra cash you have to hand over, that return on investment is frankly terrible. It is definitely not the revolutionary range bump you'd expect for your money.
And the daily compromises really don't stop there. There's this whole laundry list of little annoyances that start to grate on your nerves. Take the wireless phone charger. It's super slow and it has no cooling function, meaning your phone just gets uncomfortably hot while it sits there. Then you have these really weird cost-cutting choices. For example, the driver's right knee has to rest against hard, cheap plastic, while the front passenger gets this nice plush padding. Why? Make it make sense. And hey, remember those awesome physical climate controls I praised earlier? Yeah, they completely forgot that logic for the sunroof. If you simply want to open the roof, you have to go digging through digital touchscreen menus. It's just unnecessarily complicated.
Let's pivot back to something that actually matters to families, though. How much junk can you actually fit inside this thing? You're looking at 461 liters. That is your baseline cargo space in the trunk. On paper, that's highly competitive for this class of compact SUV. But as we all know, raw data and numbers don't always translate to the reality of packing a car for a chaotic family vacation.
So let's translate that number into the real world. You can easily chuck in 3 full-size suitcases right into the back, and you'll still have room to spare. On top of that, beneath those suitcases, you can utilize this really clever hidden underfloor compartment, which is perfect for stashing your charging cables or smaller valuables out of sight. And if you need to make a hardware store run and haul something massive, just fold those rear seats down and you get a completely flat load area. It essentially delivers exactly the kind of everyday, no-nonsense practicality that families actually care about.
Now, what happens when you load all those suitcases up and actually hit highway speeds? Well, you're definitely going to notice some wind noise creeping into the cabin, and there is absolutely some noticeable body lean if you try to take corners a bit too fast. Look, this clearly isn't a highly refined, heavy German luxury SUV, but the ride itself remains really smooth, and while the steering might lack some tactile road feedback, it is very accurate. And let's be honest, for a daily driver hauling the kids, predictable, easy steering is way more valuable than some harsh, artificially stiff setup.
Which brings us to arguably the most crucial piece of data in this entire explainer, 38,000 pounds. Now, the base model does start closer to 31,000 pounds, but 38,000 pounds gets you the fully loaded, top-tier version of the EX5. You get every single tech feature, those crazy lounge seats, the upgraded sound system, the whole shebang. When you look at the sheer mountain of equipment you are getting for that specific price point, it forces a really difficult conversation.
Because this right here is the ultimate consumer dilemma. On one hand, you have the brand new, fully loaded Geely EX5. It is packed to the absolute brim with wild technology, incredible comfort, and genuine family practicality. But on the exact same hand, for that identical budget of 38,000 pounds, you could literally step onto a used car lot today and buy a nearly new premium SUV. We're talking established driving refinement, better battery range, and a highly prestigious badge on the hood from Audi, BMW, or Mercedes. You're no longer just comparing budget EVs, you're comparing absolute maximum feature value against proven, established luxury.
Which ultimately leaves us with this final thought. We've looked at the wild, impressive gadgets, the brilliant family-friendly space, and that incredibly smooth, easy ride. But we've also unpacked the mediocre battery range, those annoying little tech quirks, and the undeniable lack of top-tier highway refinement. If you are someone who values ultimate comfort and clever features over squeezing out maximum range or flexing a fancy badge, the EX5 absolutely deserves to be on your shortlist. But if you're weighing all the evidence, for that exact same money, would you take a leap of faith on the fully loaded newcomer, or would you play it safe and go with the used luxury classic? Which one would you actually choose? Think about it. Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.